Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on today's live. What am I talking about today? Today I'm talking about leather boxes. Okay, so as some of you already know, I came out with a video on how to make leather wrapped boxes. Okay, the art of leather wrapped boxes. Now, there's different types of leather wrapped boxes, two that I do a course for, and they are both here. Okay, so this one is the one that I just released, and you might recognize this from what you've seen on my feed. The second part of the video, so it's going to be a two-part video, is yet to come out, and it's going to be finishing off the box using this lid. And you can clearly see this ain't leather. Okay, this ain't leather. It is known as a carcass in the industry. Okay, so it is a wooden carcass and is then wrapped in leather. So that's one type of box, and this is the latest course that I'm teaching, the latest video on leathercraftmasterclass.com. Another course that I've previously produced, and some of you may recognize this one with its gold edges, is the solid leather box course. Okay, so if I take this off, it might sound like wood. Okay, it's very, very firm leather, but it is not wood. It is pure leather. Okay, vegetable tan leather. And one distinguishing factor you might be able to notice is this is in fact stitched. Okay, technically box stitched, where the stitch goes through at a 45-degree angle to stitch all parts together. Okay, and on the inside you see no stitches. Well, you'll see the stitching from the quilting obviously, but stitching is only visible on the outside, same as the base. Okay, so one is solid leather box making, the other is leather wrapped or over wood. Okay, so one has seams, stitched with seams, and the other has no stitching whatsoever. So it's a little bit of a different course, and the techniques in this are techniques that are just not widely known. Very few people know how to do this, so I really wanted to produce a course. Now, there is a PDF download that comes with the video as well. It is not for the leather that gets wrapped on the outside. The technique I use for that is bespoke to whatever object that you're trying to wrap, and I teach you how to make the patterns rather than give you the patterns. That way you can make patterns for absolutely everything. The PDF pattern that comes with it is for the wooden box itself. Okay, so if you wanted to make this box, which is a very simple box, if you've got basic carpentry skills, you'll be absolutely fine with it. It's just 100 millimeters by 150 millimeters. Okay, you can put dominoes in there, you can put a deck of cards in there, you can put jewelry in there, you can put your watch in there, all sorts of things. And it's going to come with its own little handle, much like this one, but a different handle. But very handy to have. Now on here you can see there are actually seams, but the idea is they're hidden, so you can't obviously see where they are. Now, with the naked eye off camera, you'll probably be able to notice where they are, and you'll be able to pick them out. If you look very closely, it's almost impossible to have them completely invisible, but you can get them very close to invisible if you choose a much lighter leather. For example, if you chose black, dark brown, navy, very deep dark burgundies or plums, things like that, then it'll be very hard to detect any little overlaps that you have on the actual box. I've gone for a kind of a mid to light red. The main reason, not because it matches the background, is because it's much easier to see on camera. If I chose everything in a really dark color to make everything, you know, almost perfectly invisible, it would be difficult to see on camera, especially on a black table as well. So I've gone for a lighter color, but I recommend if it's your first time, choose a darker color. It's a little bit better. Now, talking about leather, on this, you're gonna choose thick, firm, veg tan leather. You can have it as textured, you can have it as, you know, polished, something that got a nice little shine to it, as you can see on this one. But on this, you really want a happy medium. What you're looking for is avoiding everything with a very heavy texture, okay? For one, you're going to be having it so thin that anything with a heavy texture, once it's glued down, is going to lose a lot of its texture. But if you're using something like Saffiano or printed calf or something like that with a heavy texture on the surface, and you're trying to blend it in, you might not be able to see the seam, but you'll see the pattern, because even though it looks randomized on a hide, the surface textures often to a pattern, you'll see the change in pattern as the two parts meet. So you want to avoid heavy textures. On the other extreme, you want to avoid things like really, really smooth leathers, like, cordovan leather, for example, or polished English bridle leathers, really smooth calf leathers, things like that, because it's so smooth and polished that you will see that little tiny faint line on the overlap. It's very, very difficult to kind of hide that. So what you're looking for is something like this, which is just plain goat skin, okay, vegetable tan goat skin in this case, but it has a very, very fine texture. So it's not something you can easily pick up a change in pattern where the two parts overlap, where the skins overlap, where you've scarved them nice and thin. But at the same time, it's not so smooth that it shows the lines or the joins. So ideally, you want to use goat skin, which is why it's so popular in bookbinding, where you have a lot of these techniques as well, and leather wrapped boxes. You see probably a lot more in France. Only a couple of places in the UK do it. Handful of companies in France do it. But most of the time, you're going to see them using goat skins, and for good reason, because it's that happy medium that works really well with thinly scarved overlap, so it makes it really, really invisible. I reckon, something else that would be good as well, probably not lamb skin, it's a little delicate, but kangaroo skin I think would actually be very good for box making. So if you have access to that, maybe you live in Australia or you have a supplier near you and you want to try that out, that'd probably be one of the best, to be honest. But goat skin is very, very strong, very, very durable, highly abrasion resistant. So when it's really thin, it still keeps a lot of its strength too, which is always a good thing. Any questions, guys? Anything you want to know? Just going through. Got a request to be in my live. I don't think you want that. You people saying hello, hello. Good to see you guys. So yeah, the first part has just come out. So this is ready to watch, this particular one, and you'll notice I've played around with the colors a little bit. So I've gone for black on the base, black on the inside. I'm also going to have black on the inside of the top, so that when it's covered, everything is red, but when you open it out, it's got that kind of contrast, and it also gives it a little bit more depth to it, I find. Whereas if you have the same color overall, nothing wrong with that, but I think it just looks a little bit better this way. Another thing is, in this course, I show you how to make invisible magnets, okay? So as you can see there, or as you can't see there, there's magnets on the inside, very close to the surface, but completely flush, that allow it to magnetically stay in place. Not difficult to open, but it will hold itself so you can lift it up by the lid if you want to, or the handle that we're going to be putting on there. So again, it does come with a PDF pattern, and there's going to be two parts to it. Part 1, which has just come out, and then part 2 on the 8th of next month. And the techniques that I talk about in this particular course, you'll also be able to use them on any box of your own design, box that you could purchase in the store, online. It doesn't have to be square, it can be curved, it can be rounded. And that's why I didn't have a pattern for the leather itself. I teach you how to make your own pattern in the course so that you can then use these techniques on virtually every shape. If I gave you the pattern for the leather pieces themselves, then you'll only ever be able to use them on this box. Whereas what I'm teaching you in the course is how the pattern is created, how the techniques are done. Then you can go off and, find something, rounded, curved, square, oblong, oval, doesn't matter. And you can use those techniques and you'll come out with the exact same piece. All right, just scrolling through there. Cool, so that is available now, leathercraftmasterclass.com. Don't forget, if you want your tool buyer's guide and your leather selection video, which is a video I produced on how to select leather, how to buy leather, what to look out for, don't forget to head on to leathercraftmasterclass.com, link in bio. And also the tool buyer's guide is a 20-page article, which is going to show you exactly what tools you need, what tools you don't need, depending on what stage you are as a craftsperson. So click the link in bio, leathercraftmasterclass.com, and don't forget to download your free guides. Again, Thanks for watching, guys. And if you do have any questions at any point, don't forget to shoot me a DM and I'll be happy to have a chat with you there. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.